YouTube friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Deidre from our Upcycled life, and I do lots of thrifting, upcycling, repurposing, and DIY content. If you like that kind of stuff, we'd love to have you follow along. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss any great DIY content. Today's video is jam-packed full of Farmhouse Upcycle. I had a thrift haul last week. Check out that video if you haven't seen it yet, because I got some fantastic deals. The thrift store had some tables that were 75% off, and I got some great stuff to upcycle. And today some of the stuff I finished, and I've put together a video to show you what I did with it and how I upcycled it. So we're gonna get right at it because I got lots of projects to share. Let me know down in the comments when you finished watching which one's your favorite one. Let's get at it. Okay, this is a collection of what I'm going to upcycle today. All this was found at a thrift store. Some of it was found, if you looked back at my last thrifting haul video, I got a bunch of stuff for 75% off at our Bibles for Mission. So some of this stuff was 75% off. This was one, $1.49, 75% off. I'm going to upcycle this. And a little serviette tray. I have some great ideas to do with this. Everything here is going to be kind of a farmhouse theme today. $3.99. This one wasn't on sale, but it was 25% off. And I think it's solid oak, so I'm going to upcycle that. I got two rolling pins, both of them 75% off. One was $2.99, the other one's $3.99. Have a really cute idea of what to do with these. This little ceramic jar. Not really loving the color of it. Gonna give it a real good farmhouse theme feel, and it was $1.99, 75% off. And then the last is this little cute stool, and it's kind of that cottage chic or that grandma style, and I'm going to put a real farmhouse kind of twist on it too, and I'm excited to get at all of these projects, so I hope you enjoy. The first thing I'm going to work on is this little glass tray. I'm going to give it a really good wipe, get any grease or grime off of it so it's all ready to paint. I'm going to use this spray paint. It's a primer and paint in one, and give a real light coat over the entire top of it. I'm not going to paint the bottom. I'm just going to leave the bottom glass and just spray paint the top. And then after the spray paint has dried, I'm going to put 2 coats of my homemade chalk paint on the top of it. I love using my homemade chalk paint for all of these projects. It adheres really well, no prep work. You can just paint it on and you know it's going to be durable and stand up to your projects. And now I'm going to distress it a little bit just to have that black and maybe a little bit of that glass peek through. I don't like to use sandpaper on glass, so I'm just taking the edge of my scissors and just kind of scraping away a little bit of that paint so I can just see the peak of that black. And this is what it looks like with a little bit of that just scraped off, and it gives it a real nice farmhouse feel. Now I'm going to put a cute little graphic on it, and it says Sparkle. Printed this off on my LaserJet printer. Make sure you reversed your text. I have all kinds of tutorials on my YouTube channel on how to do this technique step by step, and you can check those out. I'm using my Mod Podge mat. I'm just going to put a light coat on the graphic and then place it on the little dish exactly where I want it. Let it dry overnight, and then after it's sat for 24 hours, I'm going to take a damp cloth and then rub off the excess paper, and you'll be left with the graphic on your project. Okay, this is sat overnight. I'm just taking a damp rag, and you just want to dampen it just enough so you can just start to see the graphics peek through, and then you're going to rub off the paper, and as you're rubbing off, you'll see that the graphic will be left on the little dish, and all the paper will be gone. And I think this is turning out really cute. I love the little sparkle, and you can see the bottom. I've just left the glass, and I'm ready now to coat it with the polyacrylic sealer. It's the water base, it won't yellow, and it'll seal it up really nice, and you can be able to use it. And I think it looks really cute just to keep your little rings or earrings in, and it would make a perfect gift. Okay, on to the second project. I'm gonna wipe this really well, get off any grease or grime, and make sure that I have the paint adhere really well to it. And then I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to give it a spray with the primer and spray paint again, the same as the first project. Give it a real good coat all over it and then let it dry completely. The spray paint is all dry. Now I'm going to take my white chalk paint again and I'm going to paint over the entire jar and just kind of slopping it on. It doesn't have to be really perfect because I want it to make it kind of look kind of rustic, and make sure you get in all the real nooks and crannies. I'll put a link to my chalk paint recipe up above here or down in the description because it works really well and you can save a little bit money than buying store-bought. And for the last coat, I just like to take a little sponge and just dab on. It just gets rid of any of those little brush marks that you might have left from the chalk paint. Now I want that milk to kind of stand out, so I've just dabbed a little bit of black acrylic paint on the end of a sponge and I'm just dabbing it on that milk just to make it kind of pop out. I could probably paint this by hand, but I thought it would be easier to kind of just dab it on and then go back with a paintbrush and just kind of go over where the sponge went on the rest of the little jar and straighten it up from there. So I'm just going back with my white chalk paint and a little brush and just cleaning up along the lines and the edges just so it looks nice and clean. I kind of want this to have a distressed look, so I've got a sanding block and it's an 80 grit and I've just kind of sanded all around the edges just to make that black kind of pop out, and I've also sanded along that milk just to give it a real kind of rustic feel. Okay, and I wanted to make a little hang tag for it. I thought that would look really nice tied along the top of it. I have this little punch that cuts it out like a hang tag. I printed off this graphic from the fairy graphic of this cow, and I'm just going to take a black permanent marker after I've punched it out and just kind of go around the edges just so it looks kind of rustic, and then I'm going to tie it onto the top of the jar. Just poke a little hole through the top with the scissors and then feed some twine through it and then tie it onto the top, and I think it's going to look really cute with that little cow graphic with the milk on the jug. Now, to add to that tag, if you've been following along, you saw my video on how to paint wooden beads really quickly. So these are some of the wooden beads that I made. I'm just going to add them as an accent and tie it on, add some more jute, and then I had this really cute little piece of ribbon to tie along the top, and I think it finishes it off super cute. After you've seen all of the projects that I've done today, make sure you leave me a comment down below and let me know which one is your favorite. And I love the way this one turned out. I think it was a really fun upcycle. It has a real farmhouse vibe to it, and it'll look cute on a kitchen counter. Project 3, we're going to work away on this serviette holder, give it a really good wipe, get all the grease and grime off it, and we're ready to paint it. And I'm going to paint it with my white chalk paint right onto the wood and just give it a real liberal coat over the whole project. I have an idea that I'm going to do with this. I'm going to put a mail graphic on the front of it, and it could be put at the front door or on your kitchen counter just to hold all of those little papers that you want a spot for. Printed this graphic off Mod Podge Reverse Graphic Transfer using the Mod Podge mat, and we're going to put it on the project. And just like the others, we're going to put a little bit on, place it where I want it, and then let it sit for 24 hours. Now, all of these graphics that I'm using in today's project are available in my Etsy store, so make sure you head over and check it out, and make sure you use the code SAVE50 because you can get 50% off all my graphics in my store if you want to use them for any of your projects. And this is sat for 24 hours. I've rubbed the paper off, and now I'm taking it outside and I'm giving it a real good sanding, 80 grit on my palm sander, and making it really rustic, and we're almost ready to put the sealer on. Seal it up and then put your mail in it, and I think it's so cute, and it's just, I love the font of that graphic too. Finished it off perfectly. So many projects today. Okay, let's get at this first rolling pin. Putting that spray paint primer and paint on it all over, letting it dry, and then we're going to take it back into the shed, and I'm going to give it a real good coat of the white chalk paint. I'm going to leave the handles black and just paint the body of the rolling pin white, sand it, and give it a real good distressed look. And then we're going to put a really cute graphic on this one too. I've made a graphic that says bake, and I'm going to just put it on the rolling pin part, and same method again with the Mod Podge mat. Put a liberal amount on the paper, place it on the rolling pin where you want it, set it aside and let it dry, and then rub off the paper. And then I'm going to put a little, maybe some ribbons or some twine on the end of it as an accent to finish it off. And I think this project will look really cute if you had like a crock and you did a bunch of them and kind of filled the crock up with all these rolling pins, and maybe had all of the ends of the rolling pins maybe different colors and different little graphics on it. There's so many possibilities that you can do. And it's all done, and we're ready to seal it up. Again, my water-based polyacrylic sealer works fantastic for sealing up all your projects, and we're going to let that dry and then add a little bit of ribbon to finish it off. I had a little bit of burlap that I made a little bow out of, and some buffalo plaid and a little piece of twine just to tie around the one little handle as an accent, and I think it turned out so cute, and it's such an easy upcycle. So whenever you're out at the thrift stores and you see the rolling pins, make sure you pick them up, and because they can look so cute displayed in your kitchen. And also, again, perfect gift for that person that loves the farmhouse feel. And how stinking cute is that? And once again, graphics available in my Etsy store for this one if you want to try to make this yourself. Okay, and now on to the second rolling pin project. I'm thinking I'm going to do the handles in a really primitive red color, and then maybe just distress them a bit. This is a little bit of some red chalk paint that I had, and I'm just going to put 2 coats on the end of each handle, and then distress it. And I have a really fun idea to do the middle of the rolling pin. Okay, so I have it all painted and distressed a little bit. Now, when I was at a store a while back, I was given this paper bag for the item that I bought, and it's like an old newspaper print, and I tucked it away because I knew I would be able to use it on a project someday, and I am going to use it on this rolling pin. I think it's going to look really cute. I'm going to decoupage it on with my Mod Podge and just wrap it around that rolling pin, and I think it's going to look really cute. Now, when I'm using a little bit of a thicker paper when I'm decoupaging, I like to take a water bottle and just give it a little bit of a spritz on both sides, on the front and the back, because when you go to decoupage it, it just makes it a little bit more pliable and easier to wrap around what you want to decoupage. I'm going to add the Mod Podge right onto the rolling pin, and then place the paper right lined up so it's straight, and then put a little bit of Mod Podge on the top and just work away around the rolling pin till it's completely covered. And I knew I saved this little bag for a reason, because I think this is the perfect project for it. And after you have the rolling pin completely covered, we've already put the Mod Podge on the top too, so it doesn't need to have a top coat of anything. It already has been sealed with the Mod Podge, but you can go back and put a polyacrylic sealer on the top if you want to. And how simple of a DIY is this? And imagine the possibilities. You could use scrapbook paper, you could use napkins, you could use anything to finish off these rolling pins. And our last project. This is kind of like a cottagecore feel, 90s with the heart in the middle, but I really like it. I'm going to leave that, but I'm going to fill in these little holes at the side, sanded them down, and now I'm just going to put a coat of that spray paint primer on the whole stool, and then I'm going to do my candle wax technique to distress this. It's a super easy technique and the results are great. You're just going to grab your wax and just scrape it all over wherever you want that paint to have that distressed look. I have a full tutorial on how to do this technique. I'll put a link up above here and down below in the description so you can see it in a little bit slower to follow all of the steps. Okay, the black spray paint has completely dried. I've mixed up some baking soda paint with some acrylic green paint that I had, and I'm just gonna paint over the entire stool. Doesn't matter if you get in every little nook and cranny because you want all these different colors to kind of peek through. I took the candle over the whole project again after it had dried, and now I'm putting on a third color, a yellow that I mixed with the acrylic paint into a baking soda paint. Slap it on. It can be messy. You don't need to have it in every little nook and cranny because you just want all those different layers to show through when you're distressing it. And the last coat. Again, I'm really aggressively putting on some candle wax everywhere where I don't want the paint to adhere. And then I'm going to paint it with my white chalk paint as my top coat and paint it over the entire stool. And again, it doesn't matter if you miss a little spot here and there because what we're trying to achieve is a real rustic kind of chippy paint look. So I'm just kind of slopping it all on, and then I'm going to set it aside and let it dry completely. Okay, it's completely dried, and I'm just taking a scraper and I'm just scraping off any of those big hunks of wax that were left. And then I'm going to take my sander, 80 grit sandpaper, and just aggressively sand that whole stool, and you'll see all the wonderful colors when I'm finished. But I'm going to put a graphic on it. This is a graphic that I printed off from my Etsy store. You can purchase it. Again, I'll put the link down below in the description. Printed it out on my LaserJet printer. I'm going to cut it to size and then place it on the stool how I want it, and then add my Mod Podge mat and do the reverse Mod Podge graphic transfer on this project. And I love this graphic. This one is one of my favorite ones that I have, a farmer's market graphic, and I think it's going to look fantastic on this rustic chippy stool. I've let this sit overnight, and now I'm going to rub the paper off, and as we're doing that, you'll see the graphics start to peek through, and you are going to love the chippiness and the way this stool has turned out. I think that actually this might be my favorite. Gonna seal it up with some polyacrylic sealer, and I'll show you what it looks like. And that's quite a few things that I've done from that last thrift haul that I got, and what a lot of bargains that I got for 75% off that turned out really cute. And look at this stool. I am in love with it. For some reason, I just love this chippy paint, and the more layers and the more colors that I can get through on projects, the more I like it. So let me know what you think if you're a fan of this type of technique and distressing wood. And that's a wrap for today's video. I hope you enjoyed all of the upcycles that I did and how I turned all these thrift finds into some farmhouse home decor. Let me know down in the comments which one's your favorite. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I love to read them. I'll be sharing so many more DIY, thrifting, repurposing videos, so if you aren't already following along, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and that will let you know when I upload my next video. See you real soon. Take care and have a great day.